So we're very happy to be here. And let's just go into meditation. That's why we're all here. So take your attention inside. And, we're moved to say that as we reaffirm our attention inside and understand that ultimate reality is not to be discovered in the way we look outside, but it's actually through unfolding our relationship to our inner reality that we gain the perspective that allows us to see beyond the superficial in the outside world to the ultimate reality that is also expressed there, but it's so subtle that we cannot perceive it until our inner reality unfolds. And so as we all know, the beginning stages of unfoldment of inner reality look like there's nothing there but darkness. Quite literally, like we don't have any illumined inner vision. And then as we work with the chakras, they begin to show themselves to us. And our inner reality comes alive. But the time between beginning our work and the affirmation that what we're doing has very real consequences can be tedious. That time before we actually have the experience of the reality of our illumined inner self. That time can be full of doubt and self-questioning and, is this really worth my input? The answer is absolutely yes. Every second that we focus on expanding our awareness of our inner reality, every second brings us closer to knowing our own precious divinity and the capacity that exists within a human being to be aligned with that divinity in harmony. And living in true harmony is the only thing that's going to save this planet and the beings on it. And whether or not that is possible is not up to us. But what is possible for us and mandatory for us is to illumine our inner experience. Turn on the lights inside. So that said, take your attention below your belly button. And feel the magnetic pull inside this energetic center and allow your mind to drop into the energy center below your belly button. So your awareness comes fully present there. When you're ready, drop your attention to the womb center, understanding that each of these energetic centers is focused in the Sushumna, which is the central channel. So when we're sitting up straight, and the reason we sit up straight is so they align in a way that's easier for us to feel within ourselves. And that for most of us, sitting up straight is an experience that feels almost like leaning backwards because we are so used to hanging our head and looking down. And our head weighs 35 pounds, so it's really a big effort for our neck. And so our shoulders try to help by leaning forward. So in sitting up straight, we have to pull our shoulders open and back and allow our head to center at an angle that feels like we're leaning backwards to reestablish our posture in an open state. Then from here, feeling for that womb chakra becomes much easier because we are lifting out of our pelvis as we sit up straight. And it's almost like undoing the folding in that we've done in ourselves to try to hide whatever it is that we're not wanting to be or feel inside ourselves. And because our culture treats the feminine as less than, we get folded in on ourselves in a way that doesn't serve our highest evolution. So opening to this womb chakra is for most of us like opening a wound, WOUND, because we are wounded in our sexuality and sensuality, if not because of physical experience, because of the cultural denial of our value. So loving this energy center is a very important part of our growth. Loving our essence in whatever form it takes is an extremely important part of our growth. Allowing the magnetic center of this energy center to pull all the energy that's stuck between our ears down into the womb chakra, so that we are present in our gender affirmation. Which doesn't mean what it means to our culture. It means that we are loving ourselves as we are. And whatever expression that takes can be free to show itself to us. We are not hiding from ourselves. And now feeling into the root chakra. When you're ready, allow your attention to move up to your solar plexus. feeling into the solar plexus. Again, acknowledging our tendency to want to fold forward. And our head wanting to hang down. Feel that conscious opening of allowing our breath to move into the solar plexus. When you're ready, allow your attention to move up to your heart. In the center of your chest, feeling your shoulders open to make space. When you're ready, take your attention to the throat center. As we said last week, the throat center is complicated for most of us because everything that we say, have said, and everything that we have eaten has come through this center. So it's a lot to unpack to be able to be free. So the first thing to say when you come to an energy center that feels blocked is everything that's not mine, please leave. And allow yourself to release whatever no longer serves in this energy center. And it's amazing how much you can feel leaving as you just invite it to go. Allowing and asking for things to leave is our reset button. So that we can free up the space to actually experience our inner life as it is meant to be. And then the second question to ask is, what do I need to see here? And make yourself available to receive information from your highest self. When you're ready, move your attention to the third eye above the roof of your mouth, where the hard palate and the soft palate meet. When you're ready, allow your attention to move up to the top of your head. This is the center where the rainbow light dawns. And now ask your breath to align with inner radiance and watch what happens. Just allow. Keep embracing the ever deepening quiet. As you allow that alignment to show itself to you. Just be curious. And now silently within yourself, we'll practice the Om sound. Beginning at the base of the spine. The sound is like an like almost like a U in butt. That's how it begins. And then at the heart, it shifts to ooh. As in loop, ooh. And then at the third eye and up, it's mm. So it's an M, but it's a very nasal M. Mm. So it's an ooh. Mm. Do this within yourself, feeling the energy rising as you do it. As you feel ready, gently open your eyes, coming into this space without losing contact with your inner. That was pretty much fun. Good morning. Anything? Hi. So happy to be here with you. Well, this cup takes up an eighth of the screen. A big cup of tea. It's that kind of morning after an eclipse week. That was pretty compressed, that eclipse.
Yeah, good morning. That was so needed, that meditation. It's been a really challenging time for me on a lot of levels. A couple of major things have gone wrong in my house.
Mm,
Yeah, the overflow leak toilet thing, just those kinds of things.
right.
And And yeah, so I feel like I've been kind of in crisis mode at this time where I really feel like I want to spend more time on a spiritual level. Apparently, that's not what I get right now. Because then I got really sick a couple of few days ago, and I thought, and I don't usually exaggerate my physical ailments, but I was thinking I had appendicitis, is what it felt like.
Ooh.
Yeah, because it kept getting worse. It was very localized in the lower right abdomen, and so
Mm,
I called in, and the one of the care teams suggested that I go to emergency, but I just didn't feel quite right about that. So I poked around some, and my daughter is a chiropractor too, and she's definitely into health on many levels and from many angles. And she was worried and said I should go to emergency if if it got any worse, because it can get worse. That's the thing.
that's the thing. And
Yeah.
you don't want to burst appendix.
Right.
That you definitely want to avoid that experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they can do a CT scan now and see exactly what's going on.
Mhm. Is that an ultrasound? No, that's not the same.
No, it's not an ultrasound. An ultrasound is, just sound waves, and they can't see exactly what's going on. They
Mm.
can see all they can see is tissue density. But with a CT scan, they're actually taking pictures of the tissue itself so they can see how inflamed it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, so, but it just didn't feel like appendicitis to me. Not that I know what that feels like, but I also have leaky gut and I have celiac and I have other issues. And,
Those things all tend to inhabit the upper GI tract more than the lower one.
but I've had issues in that particular area
Mm-hmm.
several times before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the ileocecal is actually. And
Well,
so
they're right there in the same place.
right there in the same place. And I think I have, I hate to switch you all into your doctor mode, but that's what was going on with me. But it's lessened some. I've done a lot of good things. I've been fasting and resting, and I was going to go away in my camper, which I've tried to do 3 times so far, and something's always got in the
Not
way.
time yet. No.
No, I guess not. Yeah, so it's a lot of obstruction.
Well, it's a good time to just be quiet and let it inform you.
Yeah.
But a burst appendix is a big deal. It means being in the hospital on numerous antibiotics for some time. So you don't want to do that.
Mm-mm, really don't.
Mm-mm.
But I think I will see if I can get a CT scan going on.
Well, they like to be in control of the doctors like to be in control of the process of appendicitis. And so they always start their clock when you walk in the door of the ER. So, and most of the people I know walk in the door of the ER when they are, they can no longer deal with it themselves, which is much later than the timeline that most doctors work on. So it might take a few days to get that CT scan, is what I'm saying. So don't wait. Don't wait until you can't stand the pain to go get the CT scan
Yeah. Yeah.
because it
Well,
will take them a while to come to that.
right. Well, my care team knows about it now and has already
It's good.
suggested that I go to the ER. And I had a have an appointment with my PCP on Wednesday anyway. So I'm
It's a
just
long way with appendicitis.
yeah, I know. I know, but it's kind of going up and down. It's not taking a route that appendicitis takes, as far as I can
Well,
tell.
appendicitis does not have one root. That's
I
one of the
know.
things about it. And
Right.
so, if it's on the horizon, it's best to get it looked at so that you get the process started so you can get the testing you need. The first thing they'll do is a CBC to see if you're actually inflamed. If there's a high white count, then that's,
Had a blood test for
yeah.
infection. Mhm.
Mm. So they'll do those things before they do the CT scan.
Yeah,
The thing about an appendicitis is it's a surgical event. It can't be avoided, and it's better to get in front of it sooner rather than later because the consequences of later are big. And the older we are when these things happen, the longer it takes us to recover, the
yeah.
more damaging it is. So if you wait too long, if that's what's going on, there's a big downside.
Hmm. Yeah.
And of the surgeries that one could have, it's one of the least invasive when done early enough. It's
But
not,
if it is the thing that I identified with the most of the things I looked at was ileocecal syndrome, which has a lot of the same symptoms. And I am so almost positive. I'm never positive about anything anymore, but that's what it is. And if that is what it is, that will also, won't that also kind of present as infection?
Well, I'm not particularly informed about the diagnosis of ileocecal syndrome. Um, that sounds to me like an inflammation of the wall of the ileocecal valve. And they could easily be part of the same thing with appendicitis because they're so close to each other anatomically.
Mm,
So they're it's not something you can separate out.
mm,
And the symptoms of appendicitis can be wildly varied, and the presentation, that this is why they often miss it by waiting too late. So
mm.
I but the rule with the surgical abdomen is, you know, you got to just go get the studies.
I've been to emergency a few times with my mom,
Hmm.
and I think I went once for myself, and I had, a crochet needle stuck into my finger, a tiny crochet needle that I jammed through a piece of leather into my finger and I couldn't get it out. And I had to wait hours before I saw somebody. I know they triage, but
Well, yeah, that's not a life-threatening emergency.
right, but with my
The
mom it
tri-
kind of was, and it was really upsetting to wait.
well, the triage with, you know, appendicitis moves pretty close to the front of the line. But, once you're in the system, you're in the system and it's never fun.
No,
But you don't want to wait too long
right. Yeah. Well,
because
I
waiting
will.
waiting is part of what happens in that system. And so you want to do your waiting while you're there,
Mm,
not on the backside of, getting into surgery too late.
yeah, right. Right. Well, I mean, maybe I should just trundle in there now and tell him I might have appendicitis and see if I can get it going on. I was raised Christian Scientists, and it's so hard for me to even go to the doctor.
Well, the fact that we're having this discussion
Yeah.
leads me to believe that you're in the arena of 8 to 9 to 10 pain. So just go. Just go do it. If you're even willing to contemplate it, you need to be there.
Hmm. Okay.
It's,
All right.
you have to recognize your own resistance and how big it is, and that you're still thinking about it, and it's been a couple of days and it's getting worse.
Mm.
Just
But
go.
it isn't really getting worse. It's actually getting
Well,
better now. A
you
little
know,
bit.
it's
Yeah,
it's
doing that. It's
doing
absolutely
that,
doing that.
which is what it does.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And that's what the body does, because the body's pharmaceuticals kick in when you're in trouble, and they knock down the pain, and then you feel like, oh yeah, I can live with this. And then 2 hours later, you can hardly move again.
Mm.
So I would just go.
Okay.
Okay, bye for now. Mm, so much love to you all.